Hi team, so today we are talking about dietary fat. Now, fat out of our macronutrients is the guy who gets the really bad rap. He's the one really blamed for obesity in this country, really unfairly. And so one of the biggest transitions you may find during the Honest Nutrition part of the programme is you will be eating a lot of fat in your diet, just the right kind. That's the important part. So in the 80s, the food manufacturers out there and marketing decided that fat was the devil, and the world of fat-free exploded. There was low-fat versions of everything where fat was removed, and instead loads and loads of sugar and chemicals added. Diet soft drinks really emerged on the market, and this whole industry of low-fat and diet foods came about. What happened around the same time? Obesity figures started to rise, and they kept rising, and it's only now that they are starting to slow down because we're getting a bit more savvy with our nutrition and realising that fat is not the bad guy. We have too much of anything, and we will hold onto fat in our fat stores, in our adipose tissue, but really it's chemicals, it's junk food, and it is too much sugar. The combination of those things with too much saturated fat, that's really to blame. You can't look at fat as a single macronutrient and blame it. So let's talk about what are the good fats. We've got the monounsaturated fats and we've got the polyunsaturated fats. These guys are amazing. They are really, really important for our heart health. We need them to build every single cell of our body, and most excitingly, they are really, really important for fat loss. When we have a regular supply of these fats in our body, in our bloodstream, it encourages our fat cells to release fat for energy. It is a crazy notion, eat fat, get thin, but it's really true. So you've got to have faith, got to have belief, eat the right kinds of fats and really enjoy them. Fat is also great for our appetite. It's an appetite suppressor. So when we have a little bit of good quality fats, it honestly helps us to eat less. So eat fats with confidence. What are the good fats? So we're talking about oily fish. We're talking about avocados, nuts, seeds, olives, olive oil. Cook with olive oil. Roasting, a little bit of frying, and then drizzle with extra virgin olive oil. Drizzle that on top of your steamed veg, on top of your salads. And finally then there's coconut oil as well. This guy is quite a unique one. When you look at the label, it will probably say that it's a saturated fat, and that could cause you a little bit of alarm to think, hold on a second, I do know saturated fats aren't really the good guys, but chemically coconut oil is actually built a little bit more like a carbohydrate. So we convert it into energy really, really quickly, which means it's going to fill up our muscles with energy, ready to have great workouts, and we're much less likely to store it as fat in the body, as long as we eat it within reason. Remember, you eat too much of anything and it will convert into fat tissue. Then we've got the saturated fats. Now these guys are the not so good guys. They appear naturally in food. They're in red meats. You'll find it in full-fat dairy product, and a little bit of them, a tiny amount, is good for us. We metabolise and we carry fat-soluble vitamins, vitamin A, D, K and E, in fat, as their name suggests. So a little bit of saturated fat is not a bad thing. If you're having red meat once, maybe twice a week, that's enough. And I would encourage you to choose your dairy to be low fat. I know that might sound a little bit contradictory to how I started this video, but low fat dairy doesn't add anything to it. It just removes the fat element. And while we need some of that fat, we don't need as much as is in that product. So enjoy milk, yogurt. I would ask you to opt for butter rather than any margarines or spread. Why? Because they're more natural. There's a lot more nutrients in there. But if you're going to choose milk or yogurt, go for a lower fat version. Just make sure there's no added sugar. That's a really important one. Then the bad guys, the trans fats. Thankfully, there's not too many of these left out there in the UK in particular, and America are really close behind us with putting loads of legislation out there to make sure manufacturers are not using trans fats in their products. These guys are completely man-made. There is zero nutritional quality, zero benefit to our health whatsoever. They're used as a preservative, so things can sit on shelves in supermarkets for years, and they're used as a flavour enhancer. So not only are they bad for you, but they make you eat a lot more. They would exist in things like cakes, pastries, definitely in fried foods. So do approach those foods with caution. check those labels, and please avoid fried foods like the plague. They really reduce the nutritional quality of our food. They do nothing for our heart health. They're an area just to walk away from and make other healthier choices. So I hope that's given you a bit more insight into the world of fats. Fats are a great energy source for us, so we shouldn't be scared of them. We should just apply them to our palate, to our diet with moderation. If your protein is going to be about the size of your palm, and then you're going to load up your plate with veggies, and a complex carbohydrate like rice or pasta is the portion size of approximately a clenched fist. Your fat, it does vary on what type of fat you're eating. If you're having an avocado, half an avocado, that's enough. If you're going for nuts, 12, 14 almonds, walnuts, that's enough. And in terms of oil, a tablespoon of drizzled olive oil or coconut oil, however you're using or what you're cooking it with, that's enough. It is sensible quantities. But these fats, they are so rich. There's only so much you can have of them because they do satiate our palate really, really quickly too. So the big message from this video in particular is enjoy your fats. Don't be fearful of them. Just eat the clean variety. Avoid fried foods as much as possible, and try to make sure in each meal you've got a small sensible portion of fats added in there too. What that will also help to do is slow down how quickly you metabolize the carbohydrate and the protein, which will keep you full up for longer and will help to convert less of that energy into fat for our adipose tissue. I hope that all makes sense. There is more in the newsletters coming out this week. Have a wonderful week, and I'll catch up with you soon.